What's up, friends? Today we're taking a look at Lilith, Diablo IV, Anthem by Halsey and SUGA of BTS. We'll be looking at this song from the perspective of a producer and songwriter. Also, from the perspective of someone who's watched people play a lot of D2. Just like way too much. So expect a lot of pauses to go over specific elements of the song. Really digging the intro of the song. I like how they have a fairly open vocal, especially at the beginning. Makes it sound very a cappella, very alone. And you've also got a lot of the background noises still part of the song. And then when she gets to that take just kind of repeats over into the next section. And so as she has more of a rhythmically sung part, you get that take echoing on and continuing, like the bells that they implemented, those kind of like big old church bells. And then that drone is really cool too. It gives this nice eerie vibe, which fits very much with the overall aesthetic of the Diablo franchise.
Baby, I'm confessing, yeah. You got me thinking that it was to me.
Really like the layers on Confession. Just got to point that out. That kind of whisper thing on top of it creates a really nice vibe to that specific word. Kind of brings it out a little bit more.
Tuck a knife with my heart up my sleeve and change like a season. Reason for no.
Really like how they're building strings into it. You start with that very metallic sound. Almost sounds like an anvil making some sort of sword in a blacksmithery. And then that fades out. You get the strings coming in. And she sings some lines, one of them being about being corrupted. Now, in the original version of Lilith, which can be found on her album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, there is this really cool distorted effect when she says corrupted. And I'm kind of sad that that's not here. I felt like it added a lot to the song. It was a good move by Trent Reznor and Atticus to add that into the song. But hey, I mean, it still sounds cool. It's still a good song. I just think it was kind of a missed opportunity. It's been there before. It fits really well with that word. But it's a remix. You got to do different things. I understand. Really like that switch over. You've built in all these strings, and then you have these storms come in, and as the storms come in, the strings drop away, and we get back to just like this kick, bass, and vocal part. Really cool. Like the droniness of that bass synth, as well as the texture that's added in kind of this other synth that's underneath it, has these really interesting drums going on. I've used a similar texture on my song High in the Mountain Tops, so I like to hear it. I think it adds a lot. And then that steady kick kind of balances it out, gives us kind of a foothold in that kind of weird drony sound. I like how those strings build back in toward the end of the chorus sections. Like end of each section, we start building out the strings again. Kind of this repetitive vibe that still gives us something to anchor ourselves onto. I also like that she's talking about just like messing everything up. That's very in line with what's going on in Diablo, because Lilith is kind of rampaging through everywhere, causing chaos, just messing stuff up. Also fits really with her vibe that she was going for. If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, where she painted herself as this very destructive force, this very powerful, destructive force, kind of like this, empowerment type vibe. And I like how that's kind of spilling into both.
'Cause you let anybody with a body control you, and you know me too.
I like how this verse is very similar to the first verse in terms of production element, but we've added that kick and kind of synthy, that kind of like wobbly thing at the bottom, that texture, that synth texture. Also, like that we're continuing with that vocal layer in that very specific spot. I think it works just as well the second time as it did the first time. You know, it was a little bit more noticeable with all the space that was in that first verse, but it still works in the second verse. Also, really cool aesthetic of the music video with her taking all of this damage, but just continuing on. Doesn't even matter. Getting it done. They're getting it done.
And I've been corrupted. By now I don't need no help to be destructive. I've been gone.
Love. I just like the lyrics. I think they're really cool. I think the changes to the pre-chorus are really cool. How you still have that corrupted vibe, but then the rest of the pre-chorus changes pretty significantly. I don't need help to be destructive. Fits really well with this kind of Diablo vibe of being a monster, but also works with that kind of self-reflective, like, what have I been type of thing, but still trying to be empowering with that what have I been that was present throughout Halsey's last album. Really cool.
Things up, yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I noticed. Hear me, yeah, I noticed.
I think it's really interesting what they're having Suga do in this song. They have him basically do a variation of the chorus. They've stripped away a lot of elements. They've taken away that bass element. They've replaced it with a synth. I feel like the overall atmosphere became a lot more synthetic in that high end where those strings were kind of slowly turning into synths. And then we cut away the low end and have Suga come in with that synth. Works really well. Interesting that they're having him do a chorus, not a verse to start. It's an interesting way to have a feature artist come into a song, and then he kind of continues on with this little bridge-like, verse-like riff afterward.
But you see, I have returned to hell.
I get too caught up in the moment. I can't go.
Really like that. Again, stripping things down. Vibe that you have in this next part that kind of built in those kicks again, and then they took them away again into that chorus. Then you have those dual vocals, as well as this really cool vocal on top of everything. It's like, ooh, almost sounds like a werewolf at first, and then you realize, no, wait, that's just another vocal. It just has these interesting pitch effects on it to make it sound kind of like hyper clean and a little bit more synth-like.
The more that you have, the more that they say.
Really setting that villain up very nicely in this music video. Really like how the vocals become more and more synthetic. They're adding that vocoder to it and kind of layering it on top for that outro kind of mantra. The more that you give away, the more that you have, the more that you give away, the more that you have, the more that you have, the more that they take. Really interesting. Yeah, enjoyed the song. Hope my insights have added something to your understanding of the song. If they have, really appreciate if you like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, feel free to check out my music. I just released a very fempowerment type, but also like in the feelings song with my band Jack Jack featuring Jan Jan. It's very good. I will hope you will check it out. That's right there. Thanks so much. Catch you on the flip.
Please don't hurt me anymore.